When we think about emotional self-regulation, sometimes people can think that that means stuffing your feelings, not really being honest about your feelings. But having self-regulation is actually having control over how you feel, when you feel, and who you feel that towards. Knowing what's going on inside of you emotionally. If you're sad, you're sad. It's okay to acknowledge that. In this time that we're all living through the pandemic, many people have anxiety. They're feeling fearful. They're feeling uncertainty. And it's okay to acknowledge those feelings. And self-regulation really means, how are you going to express those feelings? How are you going to allow those feelings to manifest within yourself, in your relationship with yourself, with others? So what are you all's thoughts about self-regulating, being in control of your feelings? And again, not stuffing. And when I say stuffing, that means pushing those feelings down, and it could implode if we continue to push it down. When we actually allow ourselves to acknowledge what's going on, then you feel more free. You have more peace because you're not pushing those feelings down. However, you do have control over how you're going to respond to those feelings. If you're angry, are you going to throw something across the room? Or are you going to acknowledge, I am very angry?
Mm-hmm. That's good.
When I think of self-regulation, if I may, I think of, especially with our children, because that's where I do most of my work with now is children. You know, I think of them, again, like I said, your toddlers don't know how to say, Mommy, I'm mad, or Mommy, I don't like the way this is going. So you may see that child pick up a toy and throw it across the room. So that opens up a time for a dialogue. So, you know, we talked about earlier communication. That's an awesome time to have that communication with either another person. Maybe this is an opportunity, even when Maxine was talking about that singleness, maybe you might be dating and you are wondering why all of a sudden when, you know, you see this other person who you're dating on Zoom has a negative connotation or just acts like they don't want to be bothered. That's an opportunity to talk about that self-regulation, those inner feelings that that person is having. Like Dana said, don't stuff them in and keep them to yourself, but open up about it. Hey, I'm feeling stressed today. I need some help. I want to be able to talk to you, but I don't know how to. I don't know how to address these feelings that I'm feeling deep down within myself. Can you help me? You know, and it doesn't even have to be a cure, so to speak, but it can just be a kind word. I love you. I appreciate you. What are you feeling? You know, are you feeling as if I don't love you? You know, are you feeling, like Dana said, sad? Are you feeling isolated from the world? Listen, I blow you a kiss. Any type of little thing to help release that emotion so that it's not stuffed, but it's released. And once we release it, we will feel so much better, so much better.
Wow. I love that, what both of you are saying. And the thought that came to my mind was, often we don't talk about self-regulating, you know, so there may be people who don't even understand the concept because, you know, we are in this world of kind of express yourself and whatever. And now we're in a weird kind of space because of the pandemic. We may not even understand the concept of self-regulating. How do I, and I like the fact, Dana, that you differentiated between self-regulating and stuffing. So we're not saying stuff it all in, but rather be aware and self-regulating, which you agree is a part of self-care, right? And so when I am self-regulating, I am aware of myself. And in another segment, we're going to talk about boundaries, but a part of self-regulating is me creating boundaries for me, even doing what is necessary so that I'm not exploding, I'm not imploding either. I'm not putting, stuffing it, taking it all in and not expressing myself for fear of, what other people are going to say or how I'm going to react. I used to engage in premarital counseling with couples, and I had one female who did not know how to self-regulate well, and so she imploded. But what she did, she stuffed to the point where she couldn't stuff anymore, and you all know what happened. She exploded, right? Because she didn't know how to create that balance for herself to keep her own temperament on an even keel. And that's what, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you all are the counselors, but self-regulating helps you to maintain that even keel, right? That even temperament.
It does. Yes, it does.
It does, and it allows
allows
back to decision.
No, I was just going to say it does. It allows you, to decide what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, and to be able to make a decision and verbalize it without an explosion. Because when, like Dana said, when you keep stuffing it in, it's just like you pack your mouth full of food. You pack it. Eventually, you can't hold anymore. It's going to come spewing back out at you, and it's going to be all kind of stuff. It's going to probably be everything you stuffed in your mouth and some of that you ate last week. So it's going to be everything coming out. And normally when it comes out, then it's stinking. It doesn't smell good and it doesn't feel good because you've said some things to somebody that you really didn't want to say because you didn't take the time to think about it and allow yourself to be yourself and self-regulate in a proper manner.
That's good. That's good. One of the things we've been reading about, and we certainly are not going to go into it in our segments, but the fact that the circumstances or the incidence of domestic violence has risen significantly through this period. And truly, while there are resources out there for people who need that kind of help, if they were more aware of what they're feeling and being able to self-regulate and express that could be a tool, not the tool, but a tool that can be used to help people kind of get through some of those tense moments. And we'll talk about some of that when we talk about communication. So thank you, ladies, for that. And Dana, thank you for leading the conversation. We appreciate that. What we all decided was another topic that would be helpful for us and for our listening audience is called self-discipline. Self-discipline. I'll start the conversation with this one. To me, being involved with self-discipline requires talking to myself. And I'm reminded of the story in the Bible called the prodigal son. Some people may have heard about it. The prodigal son found himself in a pig's pen, which was like a horrible place to be. But what he did, he talked to himself. He said, the servants in my father's house have it better than what I'm doing. I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to go back home. Well, he wasn't talking to the pig and wasn't nobody out there but him and the pig. So that tells me he had to talk to himself. And so for me, a part of my being disciplined is to give myself positive, motivating messages to do the right thing, right? So for example, I knew my doctor told me I needed to lose weight. Nobody had ever told me that before. So I was like stunned. But in December of last year, she was really kind about it. And she said, Maxine, you need to lose weight. So I had to talk to myself, particularly during the pandemic. Now, she told me this in December. Things went awry for us, right around March? And I had just decided to start exercising and eating right. So that meant I had to give myself some positive messages about not exercising this arm, opening and closing the refrigerator, right? I had to tell myself, no, Maxine, you need to exercise some discipline. You need to get up every morning and walk. If that's the type of exercise you like best, you need to do that. You need to eat right, Maxine. You cannot stuff your mouth with cheeseburgers and French fries and, I'm hungry. Right? Now, I couldn't do that. I couldn't engage in that kind of behavior. So I had to engage in self-discipline. And so part of that for me was maintaining a schedule, sticking to it, putting time limits on what I was doing. If I'm in front of the computer for 2 hours, okay, that's enough of that. Let me do something else. Let me take a break away from that, right? So for me, engaging in self-discipline was not only talking to myself, and giving myself that positive message, but also putting time limits around how much time I was giving to activities even in my life. What y'all think?
And it sounds like what you're saying, Maxine, is it's decision making. You're making a decision. And when we think about everything that you discussed, all of that is a decision, which comes back to self and deciding what you want to do for yourself.
And
so you made some decisions.
Yes. And also, when I was listening to Maxine, I could hear planning your routine. Deciding what it is that you're going to do, and not only planning it in your head, but I've noticed that with me, my routine can be more successful and beneficial to me if I put it on paper and if I see it every day. So plan your routine, write it down, decide what are some of the things that you want to be a part of your routine. Like I heard Maxine say, get up in the morning and do that morning exercise. Or if it's get up in the morning and do your meditation, what gets in the way of you accomplishing these routines or these goals that you've set. If it's when you go to the grocery store, you can't buy Oreo cookies and ice cream and cupcakes, because if it's in your sight, you're going to eat them. So in your planning, when you go to the grocery store, buy your apples, your oranges, your fruits, and whatever you need, your juices that will help you to eat in a holistic manner that is beneficial for you to lose that weight. So that takes planning. It takes putting it in writing. Then it takes follow through. You've got to follow through with it. And you follow through with simply saying no. No is not only for your children or for other folks, but no is for yourself as well. Learn to just say no to yourself.
You are absolutely right. And I got a victory report. I have lost 34 pounds. Bam, bam, bam. And that took discipline, like with a big S for self and a big D for discipline. And another thing, as we close out this particular segment, that I found out was that scholars and researchers are saying that if we reach for our telephones the first thing in the morning, and many of us, I know I have a habit of doing that, it sets our mind up to anticipate every ding, every ring, every ping, and whatever. And it really serves to distract us. So part of self-discipline is realizing what our distractions are and taking steps to eliminate that. And one of the tricks is not to reach for that phone first thing in the morning. Wait, have your meditation time. Dana talked about breathing, the importance of breathing in a previous segment. So take that time when you first wake up to settle yourself. Get yourself together, and then begin to start your day. That's all a part of self-disciplining too. So thank you, ladies, for a wonderful episode. Another episode brought to you by the Virtual Professor. Today we were talking about emotional self-regulation and self-discipline. Have a good day.